Okay, you told me I do not read the Bible, so let's get into the Bible. So the short answer for this comment is no, and I'm going to tell you why. Jesus said to Peter, "On this rock I will build my church." And we're going to the Bible on this. You can find this in Matthew 16:18. The word church means ekklesia, which meant a gathering place for believers. It was not an institution, and it was not a denomination. There was no concept for a pope or the Vatican or even a church hierarchy in Jesus' time. So here we have something called the timeline problem. If Jesus created a centralized church with Peter being the supreme leader, we would expect an immediate historical evidence on this. Instead, we see a papal system that appears 70 to 80 years afterwards. The early Christians of the time met in homes. They didn't meet in institutions. And leadership was shared among the elders and the apostles. They were shared. Peter was important, but he was not supreme. Peter was even corrected by Jesus where he says, "Get behind me, Satan." There was a time where Paul even rebukes Peter in Galatians 2. James, not Peter, is the one that led the Jerusalem Council, and you can find that in Acts 15. And none of this would happen if Peter was the unquestionable head of the church, because he isn't. So what does the rock really mean? Well, first off, Peter's name actually means rock. But the whole foundation behind Peter is that he confesses that Jesus is the Christ. The church was built on faith in Jesus, not a future office. So let's talk about the early Christians versus the later Catholics. So in first century Christianity, there was no pope, there was no universal bishop, there was no centralized authority. The Catholic hierarchy is the thing that developed centuries later. So the structure of Catholicism actually reflects more of a Roman governance rather than a gospel instruction. So the bottom line is that Jesus founded Christianity, not Catholicism. Peter helped to launch the gospel, but he did not rule over it. The church itself are people that are united by faith in Christ. It has nothing to do with an institution. But I do appreciate your comment because we can all get into a deeper conversation about the Bible. Love you guys.